Hello and welcome to Different Style Whites, a
Woo!
podcast, a podcast about the greatest match format there is, different style fights. Um, my name, as far as you know, is Aubie. I am joined by the great historian, historiographer, historicist. I don't
Ooh.
know if he's a historical materialist. My great friend Jom.
Hello, Aubie.
Hello.
we are here for a wonderful little thing, aren't we? I'm
We
so I'm so giddy.
Yes, we are here for our shared love of Antonio Inoki's vision,
Dad.
uh, the different style fight, and I think we sort of realized at the same time as we were just talking about these things. Hey, this is very fertile ground, and we could really cover a lot and talk about a lot of really some of the best shit ever if we
Yeah,
got around to doing this pod. Uh, the name, of course, we're both white.
true.
If you
Very
had not,
true.
if you had not gleaned already, it started as a joke, and then we just liked it so much that we let it rip.
Yeah, Aubie, of course, the master wordsmith that he is, just sent it in the chat one day. Um, because we didn't even have a name for the pod yet. It wasn't even in an embryonic state. It was just a thought in the mind, and he just sent different style whites. And it was like, that's a funny little thing. Let's figure out a real name soon. But I just kept looking back at that name and laughing at it. And I was like, I'm having too much fun with this.
It's true. We are two different white boys too. So that is true. So I'm assuming people listening to this will know what a different style fight is, but maybe we should start just by breaking down that very simple thing.
Yeah.
Uh, what are we talking about when we're talking about different style fights?
So, from my understanding, it is kind of just in the name, but different style fighting is a concept in wrestling where you take two people of opposing styles, specifically martial arts styles, and put them against each other in a match. Sometimes it has rounds, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes there are rules about rope breaks or whatever, sometimes there's not, but the most important thing is that you have one guy who may or may not be a wrestler against another guy who is definitely not a wrestler, and you just have them fight it out and figure out which style is better. That's what it's all about.
And what could possibly be cooler than that? I mean, that it gets to the core of like what is good and cool about wrestling. It's the thing you do when you're 8. Who would win between a pirate and a ninja? Oh,
Like the greatest TV show in history,
exactly.
Deadliest Warriors, was
Yeah.
built off of the idea of the different style fight. Like we have always desired to figure out who's the strongest of any specific discipline. And in the 1970s, Antonio Inoki was feeling very similar to all of us.
Yes, he had to know. He had to know. Is my Gotch uh, inherited pro wrestling style the greatest style? And of course, we'll talk about how that quite literally births modern MMA.
Dude.
Um,
Yeah.
but especially the early UFC stuff that is also very much in this spirit of like what would happen if we put these two disciplines against each other. One of my I'm not a big modern MMA watcher, and one of the reasons is because very much like pro wrestling, everybody does the same style,
Yes.
right? But the beauty of the different style fight is in the name. Um, but you know, it some of this stuff to me, it, going watching it, and even as deep as we are, this is the stuff that actually allows me to like suspend my disbelief and watch this like a shoot fight. But
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
by its nature, it's necessarily going to be more exciting than a lot of actual shoot fights.
Yes. I think and that really does get to the core of like why I think we both care so much about this type of match is that it is such a distinct existence in wrestling, especially nowadays with how amalgamized a lot of the style is, how kind of everybody does everything. Um, Even at the time in like the 80s and the 90s, even as wrestlers were still more distinct, it's still wrestling. And to a certain extent, you can say a technical match is completely different from a brawling match, and I agree with that. But I think that at the end of the day, it's still two wrestlers doing wrestling. Different style fighting is the only case in wrestling where you don't see that, where you see one guy who is divorced from the context of professional wrestling being pulled into it and still trying to not do wrestling. It is a complete rejection of wrestling, and it's up to the wrestler to prove that wrestling's better.
And they're by design right there. You can see it. Look, different style fights are not for the jangling keys crowd, right? These are not smooth exhibitions of athleticism that are like stuffed with action. A lot of times, uh, there's not very much happening, but they're stiff. They
Yeah.
always have a ton of heat.
Yeah.
They have the thing that one of the other things that I think is really lacking in modern wrestling. What makes these exciting to me is it has that element of danger where they can end at any time.
Oh yeah, dude. It's such a like thing with different style fighting too. Um, because especially in the eras we're mostly going to be covering, we're almost entirely going to be talking about the 80s and 90s. This episode's going to have some of the only talk of the 70s just because it was invented in the 70s. Um, but with different style fighting, it kind of comes to that point when people are starting to develop the idea of the finisher, Ricky Dozon had his big moves, Inoki had his big moves, Baba had his big moves, but they weren't like kill moves per se. They were moves that were a little stronger depending on the circumstance, but they had like 10 of those. You get into the 90s, you're starting to see guys that have those moves that they always win with.
Yes.
Um, like Muda is almost always going to win with the moonsault. Uh, Tenryu has like three moves he rotates between. Depending on who he's wrestling. Um, but then you see these matches, and really the match can just end at any point because one guy will rattle off a combo, or get a miracle shot in, or get a hold in that's just in the right position, and that's it. Match over. And you just did not see that anywhere else.
Yeah, and it's so, like again, by design, half of these matches are usually someone who has had no pro wrestling training or very minimal pro wrestling training to build to where they are. Um, and so I've said this before in other places. The rhythm changes, and so you
Yes.
you have to be locked in, and that it makes a good viewing experience. It makes for like electric crowds, right? Because
Oh my god.
you you go back and read about the stuff we're going to talk about today, and you'll see a lot of people talking about it. It's boring. It was a failure. And I just don't see it when I watch these things. They're incredibly exciting, but even like the first match we're going to talk about that we can jump into here in a minute, the there are almost as many photographers as there are fans.
Dude, it's like anytime something big happens in that match, it's like twinkling stars in the sky. Like it's just the whole screen gets flooded with white as every single camera in the arena goes off. And like honestly, I don't know how Inoki didn't have like permanent like eye like vision damage after some of these matches, because he had to just be looking out in the crowds a few times and just get like flashbanged. Like
Yeah. And I guess the winners write history, but it's always so interesting to. And I did some reading about modern perspectives on these things and Inoki himself, and it just doesn't line up with reality to me. I think it's that if there is a casual fan, this is the kind of stuff people love, right?
dude,
I
I
mean,
mean, These were huge at the time. These were like gargantuan in Japan. They did pretty incredible business, to the point that some of these, I don't believe any of the ones we cover here, but some of the ones during Inoki's time as this proponent of wrestling as the strongest style, which we'll get a little bit more into. At that point, they were not, it wasn't even New Japan shows. They were like independent events hosted just for these fights. Because they did so much, like they did so much good business. They were talk of the town. I mean, you talk about the all the photographers. You can go back to old issues of Shoe Pro, the biggest magazine at the time. They would like put out like magazines, like specific issues just covering the shows where Inoki fought a martial artist. That would be like they would only do one magazine a month, except for when Inoki fought a martial artist. At that point, they do a special magazine just to cover that fight. Like it was massive.
Yeah, incredible. Well, we've given it away, and most people again are already aware, but we are today in our first episode. Where else could we possibly start? Well, we saw in that article you found we could start with Commodore Perry opening relations with Japan,
Yeah,
and the sumo wrestlers unloading rice being challenged by boxers.
God,
Uh,
that's so nuts.
so
I had no idea about that, but yes, it turns out there is a whole Wikipedia page on the Japanese Wikipedia on different style fighting, and
and
in
the
the history
Japanese
section,
different style fight translates to mixed martial arts.
it does, and it also translates to heterogeneous battle, which I just have to
That's
mention
awesome.
because that is so
Yeah,
awesome.
that's perfect.
But yeah, it was I mean the history according to this page, they cited as starting when the black ships came into Japan. And as Aubie said, sumo wrestlers were loading rice onto ships, and there were boxers who were American soldiers. And Commodore Perry was there, and I believe the Emperor was at some of these. They would just have exhibition fights between the sumo wrestlers and the boxers, and just to see, hey, we have our Japanese big martial art, you guys have your big American martial art, let's see what happens.
Exactly.
And
It's the most natural thing in the world for a dumbass like me,
yeah, like we just
right? To go, I wonder who would win if they fought, right? And they just went for it. It's incredible.
dude, it's rock paper scissors. We just really want to see what
Yes,
happens
yes.
when rock fights paper. It's
I read a little bit more of that today, and I was reading about, of course, it's Japanese, right? So a lot of the stories after that are sumo wrestlers just absolutely wrecking
oh,
white
dude,
guys.
absolutely. Oh, yeah.
Uh, but I read that the sumo slang American to mean bruise comes from one of these different style fights where a sumo beat the shit out of an American guy.
Wow,
So,
wow.
uh,
That's so sick.
but we,
Yeah.
we don't have footage of those, unfortunately.
No, we
Just
don't.
etchings. So we
Yeah.
have to start with the great man himself, Antonio Inoki, uh, and his claim that pro wrestling is the king of sports here in
Yes.
1976. We are starting with February the 6th, 1976. The aforementioned Inoki versus the judoka Willem Wim Ruska. We're gonna go with
Yes.
Ruska. Ruska.
Yes,
Um,
I believe his name is Wilhelm. Actually, well, let me check to make sure, but I believe it is. No, it is Willem. Willem, sometimes known as Wim. In Japan, at least, I believe most of the time he was just referred as Willem.
yes.
Um, but yeah, Willem Ruska, an Olympic judoka, a gold medalist Olympic judoka. He is here facing Inoki. Inoki, of course, has declared that New Japan Pro Wrestling is the king of sports, which is a very, very bold declaration. And to prove that, Inoki is planning to go on kind of a campaign, if you will, to place himself against representatives of every martial art that he believes is worth facing, and give it the old college try. Sometimes, most of the time, it is a work. sometimes it's a shoot. The most famous of these is a shoot, and we actually won't be covering it here, but it is just worth mentioning that the second different style fight is, of course, Antonio Inoki versus Muhammad Ali. Um, and that was the thing with Inoki is I've never truly gotten a full understanding of why he honed in on this. Why, as opposed to Baba, who was totally fine with just doing all Japan is very good pro wrestling, and it is the royal road, etc., etc. Um, Inoki was very fixated on this idea that I have to prove that professional wrestling is the strongest thing in the world. And part of me wonders how much of an influence that comes from Ricky Dozon. Of course, there's the whole thing with Masahiko Kimura that in a way could be argued that that is the first different style fight because that is the major judoka versus the pro wrestler in Japan facing off, and that of course goes the way it does. And a big part of that match is that Masahiko Kimura claims that he could beat Ricky Dozon in a real fight because he is a top level judoka and Ricky Dozon is a pro wrestler. So there's an argument there, and I feel like that had to have some influence, but there's really no way to know. But what we do know is that Inoki makes a clear declaration that New Japan Pro Wrestling is the king of sports, and that pro wrestling is the strongest style. Which, if that phrase sounds familiar, that is strong style. The bare original origin of the phrase strong style is Antonio Inoki saying that pro wrestling is the strongest style. And Willem Ruska is the first man that he is facing to prove that.
And the story goes right that he read this in a magazine and decided to challenge Inoki.
Yes.
And I am someone, and we've talked about this before too, John. I love. I don't know if I've ever actually watched real judo, but I love judokas in wrestling. I think
Yeah.
it's a perfect fit, and so I think it's it's fitting that the first different style fight really is a judoka um, against a pro wrestler. It makes a ton of sense, and I love these judo guys.
Yeah, no. Willem Ruska is a great guy to start it off with. I think that there's
A
a
natural
very natural, and
prodigy.
yeah, absolutely. And I think part of it comes from the fact that judo is a purely grappling martial art, which totally goes well with wrestling, especially at this point with how grappling focused it is. Um, but I mean, Willem Ruska comes in and he just, I mean, he gets it so fast. And I will say, actually, the one other note I will give on historical context, because I read this somewhere and I was fascinated by it because I don't know how true it is, but apparently part of the story is that the reason Ruska took this fight and was willing to, have it go the way it went is because his wife was actually sick back in the Netherlands. And Inoki was like, dude, I will pay you like $1 million to have this match with me. And Will Mursky was like, shit, man, I'll do
Yeah,
whatever you want.
let's
So,
go.
wow. But he, yeah, no, they come in and Ruska very, very quickly not only proves himself to be a very different force than like any other wrestler, just from the way he approaches coming in, but also just how much he just understands what's going on. He is not out of the loop at all. He is totally in with what he needs to be doing as the judo guy.
And he does
And
something that, again, not to make this the hate on modern wrestling hour because we don't have time for that, but
no,
he does
no.
something that a lot of people now don't understand. He lets stuff breathe.
Oh,
He
dude.
he he does big reactions to things and gets big reactions, right? He and we talked about this too as the match itself unfolds. It's certainly not the most exciting different style fight that we're going to talk about, although I
Yeah.
was extremely locked in for all of it, and I
Oh,
do think
yeah.
it is a great match. But it sets the it's a baseline and and we both wrote prototype, right?
Yes.
We'll see a lot of matches that follow a very similar path, right? Maybe with less downtime and uh, more striking a lot of the times, but the way this thing unfolds is really something we're going to see a lot of, and it's great every time. The first thing that I noticed turning this on, besides the color palette, which I love, of the
It's so
'70s
good.
stuff, it's so
It's
beautiful.
and
It just
that 70s grain on everything, just
ah. And the another all three of these matches will feature incredible Inoki robes. This is an incredible Inoki robe.
yes.
Um, is the bell rings, and I've never seen another judoka do this. The stance that Ruska hits is like Frankenstein's monster.
Yes.
He just throws his arms out ahead of him and overhead and kind of dances around Inoki. And Inoki, I don't want to say that I have like complicated thoughts on Inoki. I think there a lot of people agree with me this. Sometimes he does nothing for me and sometimes he's incredible.
Yeah.
Because of what this is, he's so locked in and present immediately.
Hmm.
Right? He's still walking around like he's got a doo doo. But Ruska's walking around with the big Frankenstein's monster stance, and you feel it. You feel when the bell rings, the anticipation, right? Like we said, there are all these photographers that invented the backwards cap, right? There's probably 20 photographers ringside with these
That's
little
not
white
even it.
hats.
There's no exaggeration there either. It is legitimately like 20 different photographers, all with the flash on, all with backwards hats. Yeah,
And they get right to it. Ruska starts with a big throw right away. I think he has 4 or 5 here, and they're all booming takedowns.
yes, I do just want to say I actually noted the stance as well. I said specifically, Willem Ruska approaching this like a red panda trying to intimidate someone. Like he just has the arm
Get bigger.
straight up,
Yeah.
like like it's judo. You got to grab onto the guys like the gi and throw him, but he's just trying to grab onto Inoki. But I've never seen a guy who tries to reach over like Ruska, even with the other judokas. Like I've never seen this
Yeah.
technique before, but I mean, Willem Ruska has a gold medal and I don't. So what do I
Yeah, it
know?
must have worked.
Yeah.
And it's funny, we'll talk about another guy from the '72 Olympics later who takes almost the opposite approach, which I've also never seen before.
Yeah.
But yeah, they get right to it. Big throw. I This is something that I noticed also in all three of these. Inoki is the first one to get uh, a little rough, right? He grabs his hair. Like one of the first things he does is grab him by the hair.
Yes. And I think that that actually is that's part of the thing that a lot of people don't really talk about with Inoki. I feel like especially certain pundits and certain the ways that people have talked about Inoki, there's kind of this idea of like the invulnerable Antonio Inoki, that he is this like Superman kind of figure in New Japan, totally infallible, always winning, always, the top guy. Um, but especially in these different style fights, he's almost always the first guy to take a real hit, and he usually is the first one forced into a corner where he feels the need to kind of push the limits of what is allowed, both on a literal rules level and on a moral level. He gets, Ruska gets him to the ground. He kind of owns him. Like I wouldn't say it's a complete control. Inoki kind of holds his own. He's able to move around on the ground a little bit. But the very clear story is that Ruska just has his number with grappling, and Inoki time and time again has to grab some hair or
Grab the
eventually,
key.
grab a gi, throw a punch eventually, which just completely seems to break Willem Ruska's brain. Like,
Well, that that stuff was so funny to me, right? Because he does own him on the ground. He gets saved a couple times by breaks. Like he gets in a rear naked
yes,
choke earlier. Another example of Ruska understanding what this is immediately. He offers the handshake and then he turns it into a takedown. But
Dude.
that's when Inoki gets pissed, and it's not the first time he punches him. I think it's the second time he punches him, but it kills me because the announcers immediately go, elbow, elbow, that was an elbow. And
Dude.
the referee is going, that was an elbow, that was an elbow. And he clear as day punches him in the face. There's one
Yeah.
point where he's giving him like multiple brutal punches to the head, and the announcer's going, elbow, elbow, elbow.
And that's part of the thing that's so interesting too.
Yeah.
Is because the thing is infallible, but that's also what they did on commentary and like with the everybody wanted to tell you that Inoki was the good guy. Not only because he runs the company, but because he's
Yeah.
like the most popular wrestler in Japan. Meanwhile, you look at Inoki, and Inoki's like, "I'm gonna punch you in the fucking face, dude. You don't judo throw me. You don't do that."
And when he, at one point after he gets him, he gets him with a legit elbow, and he hits a couple punt kicks
Dude.
that are like insane
Yeah.
to a downed Ruska. He's really, and it's funny. Ruska's playing the heel by complaining and powdering. He he has legitimate complaints, right? He's getting punched in the face, and 100,000 people, right? What we forgot to mention, this is the first New Japan Budokan, right?
It is, yes.
Yeah. And the referee and the announcers are all screaming that he's been elbowed when he's been punched. And he's just, that's when he gets a little dirty too.
Yeah, no, it's and I love it was kind of mentioned at the start. I love just how over exaggerated Ruska is. And I think nowadays, especially you'd see people that see it and go, "Oh, that's cartoonish, that's dumb," like the way he's reacting and it's like funny, and it is funny. But also like, do you see how crazy everyone is going? Like
Yeah.
it's so awesome. Like even if it's like over exaggerated, like that's awesome,
I
dude.
love it.
And
I'm sure the
he's
directive was be big, right? As much as they
yes.
told him of anything, right?
I
Now
mean,
you're in
he
the
got
Budokan.
yeah. You're in the Budokan, be big, and Ruska's like, okay,
Yeah.
I got this technique where I'm gonna raise my hands above my head.
Yeah.
Is that big enough? Like, yeah, no, but Ruska just gets more and more angry the longer it goes on because he does really keep winning on the ground and he keeps winning in the grappling, and Inoki just keeps grabbing the hair or punching him to get out of it, and Ruska's just like raging. He goes out of the ring at one point and just walks around stewing. Like it makes him mad. And he starts pushing the limits. He starts pushing the limits himself.
And I went back a bunch of times to try to pinpoint it. It's very early in the match, but Inoki is I guess it's like gi burn. I don't know. It looks
Yeah.
gnarly. He gets something on his eyebrow that is bleeding, and he tries to sneak a pretty nasty punch in there, and that kind of starts it. But it is, as we've said, the story of the match is like the prototype for a lot of different style fights, right? The wrestler is overwhelmed by this powerful and mysterious art form early on. He gets tossed around, and he has to use his fighting spirit and the power of pro wrestling. I don't think I have ever seen a better Manji Gatame.
It's beautiful. It's
This
like picturesque.
It looks real. It's like
It
I can
does.
actually see, if someone tried to do that in a shoot fight, they get murdered. But the way they do it, like it feels perfectly natural. The struggle is incredible. The takedown, the reversal, everything that comes out of it is. I mean, I really was like, how's he going to get out of this?
Yeah, like I the manji, I love the move, love all of Inoki's holds, like the cobra twist and stuff, which are like so. You couldn't do them in a real fight, but they just look awesome. This is one of the few times where I've seen him put one of those holds in, and like not only do I think he could have done it in that situation for real, it looks like it hurt like shit, dude.
Yeah,
Ruska was
it
like
does.
looked like he was about to start screaming. Like,
Of course, ultimately, Ruska gets some more throws. Inoki starts throwing these big ass. They're like palm thrusts, but they're also like claw slaps. I don't
yeah,
know. He's just
dude.
pounding him in the face. He hits a beautiful drop kick. Another reminder that this is pro wrestling, but
Mhm.
it works. another prototypical thing that we'll see a lot. A few backdrops,
Oh
and
wow, yeah.
and it's over. The backdrop is like the ultimate different style fight maneuver. If you can
Yeah.
chain a few of those together, it's over, and that's what we see here in the first one. Inoki does that. Ruska's pissed and wants to keep fighting. He says after the match that I was duped by the tricky pro wrestler, and I want to fight him again. And of course they do.
They do.
Uh,
They do a little series.
yeah,
And
the first time I watched this, I missed it, but he comes at Inoki, and Inoki like KOs him with a
he
punch.
does. He does.
Yeah.
He like comes over and Doki just punches him and he like falls over. And it's like, wow. God, but we do gotta mention I don't know if this is the very first time when it's happened, but I have to imagine it is. Ruska gets so mad that he takes the judo jacket off to power up. And
Oh, yes.
that might be the first time that has ever happened in wrestling because I can't imagine there was ever a situation where a guy would wear a gi to begin
Yeah,
with, let alone take it off mid-match.
and
But
it
like
gets a huge reaction
massive
from the
reaction.
crowd and me.
Yeah, dude, I was like cheering at my desk. I'm like, this is all I ever want from this stuff. Like that is the way you elevate a different style fight is you take some article of clothing not related to your martial art. It's just what you got to do. And
Too.
in this moment, Willem Ruska has created a staple of the genre that we will see time and time again, probably like once an episode, honestly. Like, and he's just he really does treat it like it's a power up too. He gets in and starts fighting Inoki, and Inoki just responds by fireman's carrying him, which is so
Oh,
like he's flailing around in the fireman's carry, and it's
and
awesome.
again, it feels like a shoot fireman's carry. I don't know
Yeah,
how you do that, but and then the
yeah.
way he reverses it is bonkers.
Incredible armbar. Like
Yeah,
it just it feels like it shouldn't be happening. Honestly, it's like I watch it, it's like how are we like moving from this to this to this, and it works. It's so good.
and they had this is a great match. I
Yes.
I it seems to me that at the time it was a critical and commercial success. I know the narrative on it. The Ali fight was a mistake and it cost all this money, blah blah blah, whatever. Um, but they create the blueprint and the prototype in a great match, and it and Nokia is sort of proven right. I
Yeah.
think
No,
not that pro wrestling is the strongest, but that this is a thing that people want to see.
yes, that it definitely is kind of an emboldening match for Inoki because not only has he won the match and that's one sport down in the quest to prove pro wrestling is strong, but also it is such an electric moment in the Budokan. Like it is when Inoki wins, it's almost deafening how loud the cheering is. And I have to imagine he saw that and just like not only realized how cool it is, but also just saw dollar bills in his own eyes.
Yeah,
Like this is like I see how crazy they're going for this. Now, what if I just kept doing this? And he does. This is the very beginning of a career long quest to prove that pro wrestling is the strongest martial art. One that he is very active in doing in the 70s, and as he gets older it kind of tapers off over the years just naturally, but it is something that he truly tries to pursue more than I think many people don't realize just how many of these he did because he did a fucking lot of them.
yeah,
And
and
they
it's in the DNA of New Japan, and it's something that
yes,
they need to find again. But like, it's not just that the the like this influences mixed martial arts and creates mixed martial arts. It also influences like pro wrestling stylistically in New Japan, where people are doing like knockout finishes, and you start getting more submission finishes, and you start having
yes.
people adopting these like stiff strikes, and all of that is down to Inoki having this probably delusional idea that that pro wrestling is the strongest style, and when it's the one that's worked, then you can prove that it is the strongest style. And it certainly gets the best reactions.
Oh yeah.
Awesome match, cherry on top. Not someone we'll probably talk much about, but another guy that again we both have an affinity for.
Mhm.
After this monumental, historic, changing the face of pro wrestling fight, it ends with Tiger Jeet Singh running out and hitting people in the face with his saber hilt
Dude.
and like the most pro wrestling bullshit you can possibly have, and it's so
Oh.
beautiful.
Oh my god, dude. Though the post match with Tiger Jeet Singh is so fucking funny. Like, not only because he comes out and he's like doing the Tiger Jeet Singh stuff, and it's like, oh, haha, look, Tiger Jeet Singh's here. Of course he fucking is. But because like a fan hits Tiger Jeet Singh in the head with a chair, like as hard as he can, like for shoot. It like you can tell just from the way the camera's positioned and the way everyone reacts. That's not like an angle. That's not like a fan saw Tiger Jeet Singh was like, that's the guy that cheats against Inoki.
Yes.
Picked up his chair and swung it at Tiger Jeet Singh's head. And of course, everyone there just jumps the fan. It's like the camera even like lingers on him getting stomped out by these wrestlers. It's so fucking funny.
It's so great. And it's a perfect capper, but the whole thing, again, this captures what is thrilling about a different style fight. It could end at any time. Every second matters. You're not, it's going to be unlike anything else on the card most of the time. Right. And again, it's not something that the jangling keys crowd can necessarily understand. But if you have an affinity for this type of stuff, right, he's just opened a whole new world that is going to lead to what I think is some of the best shit that has ever happened in pro wrestling across
Yes.
companies, across you know time, with all different formats and, as you said, rules, because that's a very funny thing too, right? They're just kind of making this up as they go.
They
and,
ba-
they're
every
different every time.
every different style fight seems to have a slightly different rule set every single time, and it's just however they want to play it in the moment. Usually it comes down to the martial arts at hand. Sometimes it seems like they're just doing it for fun,
Yeah.
but I mean that I will say if you are a stickler for like I want to understand what rules they're playing in, different style fighting might be a little difficult because really you only figure out the rules about halfway in when they start becoming a thing. Like the last match we talked about, I didn't realize one of the rules until it happened, and that was like halfway through the match, and I
Yeah.
was so confused. But I kind of just said, okay, I'm rolling with it, whatever.
Yeah.
you know,
I trust you,
I trust you,
King of
Antonio
Sport.
Inoki.
Yes. So we move from the prototypical, the one of the great forms, right? The judoka versus the wrestler, into probably to me the most fruitful
Yes.
combination, and that is from February 27th, 1980. Inoki, by this time defending his WWF World Martial Arts Heavyweight title that he was gifted by Vincent J. McMahon, uh, against karateka, an all-time badass motherfucker, Willie Williams.
So this match is incredibly interesting from a historical standpoint because the lead up to this match, I didn't know it until we started doing this. I had no idea about the lore that came into this match, but it is so fascinating. Um, Apparently there was a long history of like karate against Inoki. When is it going to happen? Um, and it didn't for many years. And I don't know the full context of why, but my understanding is that simply put, the Karate Federation in Japan had no interest in entertaining Antonio Inoki's different style fight thing. They had a policy in place that was not only just for Inoki, but just across like works and shoots. Karate fighters do not fight people from other martial arts. I don't know why they had this rule. I'm sure if I kept looking and had more time to look, I could have found something. But regardless, that is a rule they have in place. Willie Williams is an American man who uh, learned karate in the United States at first. He was going to the Connecticut branch of the Kyokushin karate discipline. and he received instructions from Shigeru Oyama, who was one of the first proteges of Mas Oyama. No direct family connection between the two. However, Mas Oyama, originally Korean, was living with the family of Shigeru Oyama when Shigeru was like a kid. Um, and whenever he wanted to take on a Japanese name, he took on the last name Oyama because of his relation. So that's their connection. Shigeru Oyama teaches Willie Williams karate. Willie Williams wants to get a greater understanding, and he's like, "All right, man, I'm just gonna move to Japan because I want to become the best. I want to become one of the best karatekas in the world." So that's what he does. He just upends his life, moves to Japan, and he becomes a pretty damn good karate fighter. He loses in the third round of the first open weight World Karate Championship tournament, which is this massive, massive tournament from where people are representing all different nations. He goes into the second tournament, which has over 130 participants, and he gets third place, losing in the semifinals to, I believe, the person that wins the whole thing. And that is in November 1979. So in November 1979, Willie Williams, proven karateka fighter, one of the best in the world, massive deal. It is around the same time as that tournament that he gets on, I believe, a press conference, says that Kyokushin karate is the strongest martial art in the world, and that he is better than Antonio Inoki.
Oh, brother.
And this is partially, or maybe even mostly, motivated by Iki Kajiwara, the mangaka who made Tiger Mask and Ashita no Joe and a couple other pretty major sports mangas, who is a real rabble rouser, a real problem causer in the world of mixed martial art, or just in the world of martial arts and wrestling at the time. He is causing so many little fucking incidents, dude.
Just sort of the kind of guy that just doesn't exist anymore. But
yeah, no, we don't have a guy that goes around and gets in people's ears and convinces them to do bad things like this. Like, it's not in like the sports world at least, but he was just convincing everyone to do everything. Like, Willie Williams has the nickname the Bear Killer. The reason is because Iki Kajiwara made a film about Kyokushin and convinced Willie Williams to fight a grizzly bear. Like, he's just, I don't know what he has, what power he possesses over people. He is the devil's silver tongue, but he can just convince anyone to do anything.
Jones.
He does look like Jim Jones. Oh my god.
Something about that. Maybe if we wear those sunglasses, we can manipulate people.
But oh my god, but Iki Kajiwara convinces him to do this, and Willie Williams makes the declaration. Shigeru Oyama is supportive of this. A few other major people in the world of Kyokushin karate are also supportive of this. Mas Oyama, not supportive of this at all. And in turn, Willie Williams and Shigeru Oyama are expelled from the Kyokushin organization. Expelled and excommunicated. They can no longer have any claim to being Kyokushin fighters, which is a like pretty massive deal, because that is the like largest and most respected karate discipline, and they've just been blackballed from it, basically treated as like you cannot, like, don't even say their name. You know, it is a massive deal in the world of karate when these
leaving Scientology.
Figures, yes, dude, it's like it's treated like such a huge deal in karate, from my understanding. Like, they, like, again, Willie Williams third, like, in this tournament, proves himself to be at least the third strongest karateka in the world, and now he is out of the Kyokushin organization. However, Antonio Inoki has just been challenged, and he's going to have this match now. So he, of course, is immediately with Iki Kajiwara and Shigeru Oyama organizing this. And I believe in December is when Shigeru Oyama has a press conference in Japan where he announces that, yes, they will be fighting Inoki. There's another press conference held where Iki Kajiwara is the mediator between Inoki and Williams, and they like shake hands, and it produces like some of the coolest photos ever where they're just stanced off staring at each other.
Yeah, you sent one of those, and it looks like a movie.
it
It's
looks
fucking
so
awesome.
unreal. It's so cool. But like, yeah, dude, we're going into this match February 27th. Willie Williams has been secretly training in the dojo of a Kyokushin guy who agrees with Oyama but cannot publicly talk about it because he'd get excommunicated.
A
Like,
suppressive person.
yes, dude, it's like it really feels like something out of a movie, but this is like everything I'm saying right here, this is all like real. Like he never gets back in with Kyokushin because of this whole thing. To the point that he and Oyama start their own like karate organization because they can't get back in with any of the major ones because they are blackballed. Like, and that was the thing with different style fights, especially with the Inoki ones, is that every single one of them has some sort of situation or like something bizarre or just weirder out of the realm of possibility has to happen for them to occur.
Well,
And
that's the
this is the
story of
biggest one.
Inoki, right? I mean, that's
Yes.
the wife of Inoki.
Yeah.
It's uh, I hope future historians discover this insane person and
God, he
I
has
mean,
to
he's this
live
guy.
beyond us.
One of the most interesting. I put him up there with like Charles de Gaulle in terms of
Yeah.
like the most fascinating lives that I've heard about.
Yeah, I
Right?
mean we're talking about all this, and as you're just saying that, I'm seeing in my head the image of him hitting the Inoki pose with all of the hostages from like just,
Yeah. Oh, and we'll talk a little politics
oh
in
yeah,
our next one. But in
oh
this,
yes we will.
yeah, this is an incredible fight. The prop maybe one of
Yes.
got to be on the longer end of different style fights you'll see for reasons we'll go into.
Hmm.
But I just want to point out again, and sort of keeping with our theme, another massive building here. A
Oh dude,
full,
huge.
loud, massive building.
Yeah, I actually I'm looking up right now because I did not check at the time. What was the attendance number? Because it seemed
Eleven
like it was a
thousand. Cage match
oh,
has it at circa 11,000.
okay, that feels wrong just because I feel like there
Yeah,
were a million people in the room.
that's what.
Like,
That's yeah. That's how it feels. Uh,
uh,
and and a I think the other two guys we're going to talk about that face Inoki, like I think Ruska did an incredible job. Um, I think that the last one we're going to talk about, he holds his own. But Willie Williams is a guy who has, I mean, he has a presence to match Inoki. Because
yes,
whatever else you want to say about Inoki, he has a, you can see why all these people are here to see him fight, right? He
hmm
just has this insane presence. But Willie Williams, I feel like in some ways kind of matches that presence, and it just makes for this very heightened, tense atmosphere. So where everything that happens in this match just feels huge.
yeah, and I think that's that I actually have a note about that too because like with Ruska and with the last guy, they are very very just guys, you know, like they're very clearly talented, very
Yeah.
strong at their martial art, but at the same time I can just like imagine like knowing them or interacting with them. They have a they communicate themselves in a very normal human way.
Yes.
um
Yes.
but like when I see Willie Williams and Antonio Inoki stance off, it looks more like a Street Fighter fight. Like it's just these are two like characters almost that feel so divorced from like, I mean, they're very clearly human, but they just feel beyond that. They feel
Yeah.
grander
It's
and
like the game of death still of Bruce Lee and
yes,
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
yes, great comparison. That's
uh,
exactly it.
yeah. And so this all three of these are on New Japan World.
Yeah.
Um, and the first two, I watched this one elsewhere the first time I watched it, and then I went back and watched it again on New Japan World, and like the first match, has Walker Stewart commentary, just as an introduction. And he says that the rule in this one that is that submissions can only be applied for 5 seconds
Hmm.
before they'll be broken, which subsequently made me figure out what was going on in the last match, like retroactively.
Yeah.
But in order for it to be like a more of a stand-up fight.
Yes, and that's not even like so. not only is that not a thing I like, it's not like a thing that I haven't seen before, but it might actually kind of be part of why this exists because in shootboxing they have the exact same rule because shootboxing allows throws and grappling along with like the kickboxing stuff, but with the submissions you can only have them on for I believe 10 seconds before the referee breaks it up because shootboxing is a discipline that's meant to be more of a standing martial art, more of a fighting like actively kind of thing. And this, I mean, I kind of agree with it in principle. I know theoretically, like you should just let them fight how they fight, but like I don't know, man. He's karate, Inoki's pro wrestling. I feel like more than anything else, the stand and bang is really where you're gonna benefit with those two guys. And like, yeah, no, I think I am actually completely right in saying that because Willie Williams is an incredible striker. He is so inspired both in the like just basic stuff he does, like the punches, and also every now and then he'll just throw a spin kick just out of nowhere. And like it really looks like it would just knock like Inoki, like if it goes for like the middle, it would just knock the lungs out of the back of his
Yeah.
like body if it connected.
And he kind of works him a little bit
Yeah.
to start the fight again,
Yeah.
which is how these often go, right? The wrestler kind of they get confronted with this style they're not accustomed to, and they take some licks, and Inoki takes some licks. I did laugh that Inoki's the first thing he does is throw a drop kick, which to me is a very funny choice when you're facing a
Yeah.
karate guy. Like your advantage, I would assume would be grappling, not striking, but it does start it. It brings everybody even higher than they are, right? Because the bell rings and it
Mm.
gets high, and then he goes for that drop kick, and it just brings it up, and it really doesn't go down. And the first round, to me, is mostly Willie because this is in rounds now, right? Again, different rules
Yes.
every time.
Absolutely.
Willie
Every
Williams
single
is
time.
working him in this first round and really lands some big shots.
Yes, he is like pillar to post beating the shit out of Inoki. Inoki has a few moments, and you know the it's such a different feeling from the Ruska match too because I think we mentioned a few times that the Ruska match has some moments of inactivity, but I don't even think that's the right word for it because it's active but there's nothing happening.
Yeah.
They're like playing the chess game, kind of staring each other down, fully locked in on each other, trying to find the right thing to grab. And there's some moments of that where there's really like there's no throws or holds going on, but they are actively engaged with each other, which is something that
Yeah,
different
yeah.
style fights do. So like that's the breathing thing. Like it gives the breath and it feels so well. This has that too, but usually Willie Williams is still throwing punches or kicks while this is going
Or
on. He's
headbutts.
yeah, dude, dude.
That's
That
something I really associate with karate. Maybe but especially that first one he gets in the corner feels
oh
pretty legit. Like
oh,
a
dude, not only
get the fuck off me headbutt.
I mean, not only does it feel legit, I don't know if that was the first or the second one, but one of them he throws, it looks like Inoki throws one back, and it looks a little bit like it was real because like
Yeah.
it looks like Inoki is like, okay, I'm just gonna headbutt you now.
Yeah, I did notice in the first. That's after. I think that's in the second round. But I did want to note in the first, the break for the first round. I swear to God, it looks like Willie Williams is drinking like a cartoonishly large beer.
It does
He
it
has a
does?
giant brown glass bottle.
It's so like they just don't build them like that
Yeah,
anymore.
it's
They don't.
1980, so it's probably water. It's probably a carafe or whatever. But
Yeah,
it just adds to it. It looks like he's taking a big swig from a beer.
yeah.
Get those headbutts, and something else that I loved in this match that I rewound multiple times is it heats up there, right? And this is a very it's heated.
Oh
It gets
yes,
rough early, but he does this inexplicable like Witcher 3 barrel roll and just gets
yes.
smoked in the face. And I'm assuming that's what busts him open because for the second match in a row here, we have Hardway blood from Inoki.
Yeah, because Inoki really loves going for capo kicks, which I'm assuming that's what that is, but he kind of just throws his body and flips and just hopes to make
It literally
connection.
looks like me when I'm playing like a third person action
Yeah.
RPG and I'm trying to
Yeah.
get somewhere fast. He
Yeah.
just does like a it's Swerve Strickland-esque barrel roll.
Yes. Yes. Okay, that's perfect. But he does that, misses Willie Williams completely. Willie Williams responds by kneeing him in the head like 3 times in a row. It looks so gross. And Inoki just inexplicably in the middle of getting kneed in the face somehow pulls off a drop toe hold, and the noise the crowd makes in response is like I thought my computer was going to start shaking. Like they go nuts when he gets
Okay,
the drop
but
toe hold.
me too, because this is another piece that's illustrative to like why different style fights are so awesome. You see a lot of drop toe holds that what I say with a lot of stuff is like Irish whips, right? You're not
Yes.
doing the move, you're like gesturing towards the move. You're hinting at the move, right? You see a lot
Yeah.
of drop toe holds that are like I'm making the motions of a drop toe hold, but he actually has to like take him down to the ground with this drop
Mhm.
toe hold and like actually does the real physics of the move. And I popped huge for that. Yeah, I love
Oh,
that.
yeah, no, because I mean, we didn't really even talk about with the Ruska match. I have to imagine there's no communication. Like, not only because like it's guys that speak completely different languages. Although William Williams had been living in Japan long enough, he probably was fluent enough. But
Yeah.
like, I mean, I can't imagine there's any point in conversation. Knowing Inoki, he probably actively avoided it because he is one of those sickos with the crazy mindset of like, and I don't mean like sicko as in like the fucking Twitter. I mean like legitimately like you have a problem with your head, where he would get martial artists and just refuse to let them learn wrestling or learn how to cooperate because he thought it looked bad. And he was right. He was
Yeah, he's right.
I think he was right.
He's right. These would not we would not be talking about these if we're just training these guys, right?
Yeah.
And he's done, you know, like we said earlier, a gotch guy. He's done enough of the real, you know, dirty
Yeah.
shit that he can.
Mhm.
You're not going to get totally over on him
No.
if you're just letting it go. I mean, we said in the last one, Ruska gets and locks in these holds, but he does find his way out of them uh, often, and he's getting worked over here. But they did the spot that they did in the last match where they roll to the floor, and then we get the match is stopped and restarted, and it I'm sure he's done this many times, but what it immediately put in my mind is that is it 2000 in the dome where it's Murakami and Ogawa against
Yes.
Hashimoto and Izuka, where he's the one restarting it
Mhm.
after all this chaos because we get it gets they roll to the floor and what do they both get counted out
Yes, so
or is it just stopped?
the
Yeah.
claim is that they are on the ground too long fighting because I think that's the one where William Williams kind of like mounts him and starts throwing like punches
Oh
at
yeah,
his
he
face on the
punches the
ground.
shit out of
Just
him. Yeah.
punches him crazy. And as he's punching him repeatedly on the ground, the ref, counts 20. That's it. Double count out,
Right.
match over. Um, and there's like a solid 10 minutes of just guys standing around, pushing each other, yelling, getting in each other's faces. There are like 3 different camps here. There's like the Inoki camp with his trainees, and Tatsumi Fujinami's there, and he almost gets into it with Willie Williams at one point. Um, there's Williams camp, which is like boxers, or not boxers, like karate guys. And then there's like a third camp, which we figure out near the end is the Iki Kajiwara camp, who's trying to get it like organized. And eventually, Iki Kajiwara takes the microphone and says, "Okay, we're gonna restart the match like with the same rules. We're just gonna keep it rolling. This is the third round, I believe, is what he says.
Yeah,
Is we're
they
just gonna."
start they just jump into round 3. And again,
Oh,
Inoki by this point is bleeding and pretty fucked up.
bleeding, fucked up. William Williams immediately rushes him and starts punching him in the face, like in an instant. And it's like, okay, there has never been a guy that, like I said before, William Ruska really understood what he was doing. Willie Williams should have done a lot more wrestling because
Yeah.
holy shit, he like sees the blood in the water, like figuratively and literally, and just goes to town to the point that there's a point when he like gets him down from all the punches, and Inoki rolls out, but as he's rolling out, Willie Williams throws a downward punch directly where his head should have been. It was so hard.
Yeah,
It was
dude.
scary hard.
Yeah, it's like the move. again in the game where you jump up in the air and punch the ground and it just sends
Yes.
everybody like launching into the air.
Yeah.
Willie Williams, he did some stuff, right? He did some rings, I know.
Yes.
And he did some FMW too,
He
right?
does rings. He goes back to New Japan for one match because Inoki goes on like the 3 year long retirement tour,
Oh,
and
yeah, he's
part
got
of
to
that
get
is
his
him.
win.
Oh yeah, no, part of that is him facing like all of the old enemies. He faces Willem Ruska. Actually, I believe he gets Willem Ruska to come back and do a little match with him. And he faces Willie Williams as well. That is actually, I will say, that is the final Inoki different style fight too. Is the final match with Willie Williams in the
Wow.
Tokyo Dome in '97, which is more of an exhibition than anything because they are both very old.
Yeah, it's
But like,
97. Yeah,
but like,
17 years after this.
I mean, I've seen it. It's like 4 minutes. It's very fun, because it's if you look at it, it's just Inoki celebrating his career. It's like, yeah, this is pretty sick. Um,
Oh,
but
I'm
yeah,
looking
no,
at
he
it. This is the dome show that has one of many incredible Choshu Hashimoto matches.
yes, it does. Yes.
Yes.
But
And
yeah,
we
Will
said Choshu
Williams,
is in the background of a couple of these
he
too, and very
is.
funny in street
Yeah,
clothes.
yeah,
And we didn't
he's
even talk
there.
about Chris Dolman popping up at the
No,
end
we
of the
didn't.
the
Yeah, Chris
Ruska fight.
Tolman
Yeah.
pops up. He throws the towel in for Ruska.
Yeah, all these
Um,
connections, man. And Willie Williams, as we said, does rings, but yeah, he does. He
he
gets it,
does,
and the crowd is with him. He's super charismatic,
and I
and
I
he
wish
really
the
beats the shit out of Inoki here.
he did, I wish the FMW run went a little longer because Willie Takayama is a deeply entertaining gimmick. Like taking Bad Boy Hito and being like, all right, you lost to Willie Williams, so now you have to learn karate. It's like, fuck, man, that's Kodo Fuyuki booking 101, and it's great. But no, Willie Williams, he had a run. I guess you could say he worked in 3 different companies, but like just the fact that he has this match and then he does no wrestling for 12 years is like almost crazy to me,
Yeah,
man. Like
especially after it, throws that wrench in his
yeah.
shoot fighting career.
I mean, he had a solid thing going because I believe he after this he works as a bus driver for a bit. But he also is a trainer at Shigeru Oyama's karate dojo because of course Shigeru Oyama is still a major name in the karate world, even if he's not allowed to be in Kyokushin. Willie Williams as well, but
Yeah,
they figure through the thing out. But man,
outlaw
like
promotion.
outlaw dojo, literally, like.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
Yeah,
You
but
can see. I noticed it at the beginning. One of the reasons that's very obvious when you watch him that he's such an effective fighter is that he has like freakishly long legs.
oh, dude,
But there's
he's
a
like
part at
so
the end where
lanky,
he gets out of an arm bar by kicking Inoki in the head, which really
dude.
shows you how fucking freakishly long his limbs were.
And another example of the crowd being so into this, the moment where Inoki gets the big throw and puts in the armbar, like insane, like nuclear pop, and then immediately like an up kick around to kick him in the head.
Yeah,
Like I thought the crowd was gonna start rioting. Like they went like it's just these matches generated so much heat, and especially at this point, like the crowds were ravenous for this
yeah,
shit. And I mean, this match more than the Ruska match, more than the match we'll talk about next. Um, the atmosphere did so much, but this match very clearly created the atmosphere.
yeah. It's huge, and they milk it. And as we said, Willie Williams is incredible. And a testament again to him as a fighter. This ends in a draw. This
Yeah,
is not an
no,
Inoki victory. And if you go look at his WWF martial arts heavyweight title reign, that's a rarity. He
yes,
was he was putting people down, and he doesn't put
he
Willie Williams down.
he has 3 draws in the entirety of his different style fight run. One of them is against Muhammad Ali. One of them is against Jobert Perez, who is from Pakistan, and that just is that's one of the different style fights where it's wrestling versus wrestling, which I never. That's the one thing that does not square in my head with Inoki's thing. Like, why did you have a match with Andre the Giant that was a different style fight? Like, you guys just did a wrestling match. I don't get it. But you know what? Again, Inoki's Inoki. Who am I to judge?
Yeah,
Um,
that's straight from the brain of Inoki.
yeah,
And
like,
you can. It's interesting. Like I think that one of the reasons that this is going to be such a fun thing to do moving forward is that we're going to touch on a lot of like really fascinating stuff and really fascinating characters and the when we contextualize these things like you can look at the different style fights. We're going from 76 to 80 and our next fight is 89 and I think there's one in 94. Am I
yes, there is
uh
that is the Willem Ruska
and
fight.
you can kind of look at it and trace sort of this thing going in and out of fashion and Inoki sort of going in and out of total power and it's just a very it's you can sort of track his career and life through these things.
Yes, yeah, no, absolutely. Um, but yeah, no, I think out of the three matches, and this isn't again, Ruska match was great. The match we're going to talk about next, so awesome. This is my favorite of the three we watched. I think Willie Williams was such an incredible force for Inoki to fight, and I think just, I mean, as weird as it is to say, the 10 minutes in between the match being over and the match starting back up is one of the coolest 10 minutes I've ever seen in
Oh, it's
wrestling because it
crazy.
really does look like everyone trying to figure out what to do next. Like just the referee getting into like a screaming match with one of Willie Williams's like trainers on the outside. It's like fuck, dude, nobody's doing shit like this ever. Like even at the
Speaking of the
time.
referee, he looks like this is a reference for all the people that are older than me. He looks like it's time to make the donuts. But he also looks like Mario.
Yes.
Who is
yes.
this guy? Is I was like, am I
So
supposed to know this? Is this some like are people gonna get mad at me when I'm like, look at this dumbass?
so I don't know for sure. I am very, very strongly guessing that this is Yusuf Turk. Because I
Okay.
think this is around the time that he would have been working as a referee for some things. Yusuf Turk is a guy that, like, I mean, really, honest to God with you, I do not remember the full context of why he even exists. I believe he was in Ricky Choshu's Fed JWA. He like stays in Japan and becomes like a referee and an executive backstage, which is kind of how he continues to exist. um I know he was involved with stuff regarding Abdullah the Butcher. uh and yes, I will confirm he is actually the referee here, so it is
Okay.
it
Okay.
is Yusuf Turk.
Yeah, I meant to
um
ask when we started because he's it's striking a striking figure. But
yes.
he manages this chaos really well, I think.
Yeah. Oh, he was actually very popular in Japan for a period of time. A- as crazy as it is to say, he might have been the first like explicit comedy wrestler in Japan. He would do matches with a Ricky Dozan, where he would kind of like do jokes about Ricky Dozan. Like he would like put his back on like put his foot on Ricky Dozan's back and then like walk away from him and pretend he didn't hear Ricky Dozan yelling at him.
he does
Like
he does have a little Brazo de Plata build
yeah,
popping
he
off there.
like there's a whole thing with him where I feel like he's such a weird existence that this guy was just around. Um but no, he was a long time. He was a like a he worked with the foreigners a lot.
Okay.
And that was a big deal backstage. And then the last memory I have of Yusuf Turk is that he was very deeply involved with Real Japan Pro Wrestling, Sayama's Fed.
Yes.
And that partially comes from the fact that Real Japan was like a retirement home fed, like tradition and legendy pro wrestling, like all the shit where they just get the unks
It was
together, let
and
them have
sort of
fun.
still is.
It's yeah, pretty much like they got Yoshiki Takahashi coming out of retirement to work Real Japan right now. Like it still is the that fucking kind of thing. But I mean, yeah, Yusuf Turk, long time thing. Found out about Yusuf Turk. Big deal during the Gulf War because he assisted Inoki with getting the hostages.
Yes, politician Inoki, which is a perfect seg into our next fight.
Yes.
You're gonna have to help me with the last name, man. May 25th, '89. Our hero Inoki, superhero Inoki. Although he's to me the more compelling version of Inoki is this old man Inoki
Yes.
versus Shota Chochishvili.
So I will be straight up honest with you. That is exactly
Yeah.
how I would have said it, and I
Okay.
think I know about as much as you do. So
Yeah.
let's just hope we got it. You know?
Yes. All right. Another. This is the first New Japan Dome show, which is, I guess, relevant to right now.
Yes.
I hear tell that there is a New Japan Dome show taking place directly.
Yeah. I
Right.
mean,
With
we're
with a judoka.
yeah, I was going to say, because I think you mentioned very early in the pod that we need more guys in New Japan. Like the DNA of New Japan is built on guys from other
Yeah.
martial arts coming in and causing problems. And we are a few hours away from the debut of I believe Olympic gold medalist judoka, Aaron Wolf, who will be wrestling on the Wrestle Kingdom today.
Yes.
And yes, he is a gold medalist in the 2020 Olympics. So,
And I cannot wait to check that one out. I'm very excited about
yes,
that match.
I'm so pumped.
And another judoka here, of course, the only New Japan wrestler ever to be named Shota. Uh, uh, First time dome. He's a very. This is another very funny presence.
Mhm.
To me, he looks like if he managed. He's like a manager of a CVS
Yes,
or
that's a great way to put him.
like a real life Dilbert or I watched these with some friends and our pal Poochie said that he looked like Glenn from Breaking Bad, which is also highly accurate. Another guy from the '72 Olympics. This one's really fascinating, and again, we've teased it. We can get into the politics of it, but just from an aesthetic perspective, no ropes, a circular ring. Uh, I think the
World's
white.
puffiest corners as well. They've had
Yeah,
they've
they
had
look
the
like
shit out of those to make sure there's like because I guess they're metal. You want to be careful, but
yeah.
they like little like buoys almost.
Yeah, like what you'd see at the indoor playground,
Yeah.
which I go to a lot. Russians all over this show, if you go look at it.
Hmm.
Uh, not, not. I think this is before the Moscow show, right? This is before the Moscow show,
It
but not
is.
long before, right?
No,
But
it is 1 month before, almost exactly.
yes, Inoki has designs on uh, representative democracy and his role in it. The diet, is that right? Is that the
Yes.
diet there? Yeah. Uh, and there are Soviet people all over this card, but he's fighting another incredible Inoki robe with the silver, and then and his opponent looks like a schlub and sort of wrestles like a schlub for the first couple rounds. Like I said earlier, where Ruska comes out with the Call of Duty zombie arms,
Yeah.
he does the opposite approach where his stance is like he's waiting on a bus.
Yeah, no, his stance is that he has no stance. He is the
He's
most
just
he's
chilling.
actually he's actually just here kind of observing Inoki more than trying to
Yeah,
fight him.
yeah,
And I actually I have like no notes on Shota's history, besides the fact he was also in the 1972
yeah.
Olympics and
I don't have a lot
long
about
time.
him either. Yeah,
Although I will say it is like when I saw it on his Japanese wiki, my eyes popped out of my head because I was like, "Oh yeah, that's actually totally true." He is only here because of Perestroika, uh,
yeah.
because
Wow.
like because the Soviet Union is now engaging in allowing their athletes to go to commercial professional sporting events rather than like something like the Olympics.
Yeah,
Um, they weren't allowed to do that in any capacity, from my understanding.
and that's very par for the course with Inoki to be jumping on this sinking ship
Yeah,
because
no,
of the Soviet Union.
like they
That's one of his favorite things to do. I haven't, Inoki to me, I put it to someone that because I was trying to float a test balloon before I said it on here
right.
because it's probably too strong. But there's something about Inoki that is like I said pathetic to me. um, and I like Inoki. I don't mean that in a disparaging way. He's a
Yeah,
striver. He's trying his best, right? He's
yes,
trying his best. But I someone put it back to me. Again, our friend Biz said he's funny. He's a very funny person,
yeah, yeah,
and he's very funny here. And it's very funny to be sort of tying your political aspirations to Gorbachev,
yes.
and
Oh,
and how that
dude,
leads to him fight. But I do find him. He's older here, and
yes,
I think they call him the superhero Antonio Inoki. But he is he's weakened, and I find that more compelling than sort of the youthful presentation of him, which is exciting, and he's a madman, and
yes.
it's hard to take your eyes off of it. But like I think he does more in the first round of this match than I've seen him do in some 30-minute matches when he was younger.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I agree with you, and I love Inoki in the elder statesman role as kind of this.
Yes.
He's still at the strength that he can win these big matches and do all this big stuff, but like he's letting his age, like he's not hiding it, and he's actively,
And he
you know,
looks great, but he looks his age.
he looks great for his age rather than just looking the same.
Yeah.
Although,
And he
and I
is
just
he's a fucking freak. Like I'm
yeah.
mostly joking when I say he's a pathetic figure, but there's just that little hint back there where like everything, all of this, even modern MMA, because of what we talked about, is sort of born out of this one man's insecurities.
Yeah, I just have to take a slight segue because you said something that made me realize that like I mean, do you think Inoki talked to Gorbachev to have this match happen? Because I think that had to have
Yeah, I would.
happened,
It
right?
has to. Yeah, because it's not. That's why I was wondering if this is before that Moscow show. It's not long before it.
No, no,
And
it's very close at the bare minimum, and
yeah, and you like let me. I had it pulled up, but let me see if I can pull it up with Shota here, because he's only got 3 matches.
mhm.
This is, as we said, right? This is the first Dome show. Uh, I don't know who Vladimir Berkovich is, but Victor Zangiev is on this show. He wrestles Buzz
Mhm.
Sawyer. That's a fucking awesome match.
Yeah,
Um, he also wrestles Hashimoto on this show.
and that match is like famously
Yeah,
fucking
yeah, that
awesome.
match fucking rules. Salman Hashimikov is on this show fighting Bam Bam Bigelow.
Beast
Like,
mode. That match is really
yeah,
fun.
yeah. Again, as we've said, it's super sick. These things are fucking sick. But yeah, it had to. He had to have been on the phone to Mikhail Gorbachev.
That's so
Right.
fucking awesome.
And we skipped the
Ah!
period where he's somewhat in the wilderness and he's challenging Idi Amin to fight. Right? That's what
Oh
I'm
my
saying. This
god.
guy is like
Okay.
one of the most fascinating people to
I'm
ever have lived.
so I'm so pissed that I forgot to talk about that during the Willie Williams thing because I was gonna say that happened in between
Yeah.
the Ruska and Williams match. Inoki does challenge Idi Amin, and I did see one thing from a report from I believe G Spirits, which was a pretty big magazine at the time, and was also kind of known like they would release some details that like Shoe Pro wouldn't. They'd go a little bit more deeper into the business stuff and kind of in the weeds, and that got him in a little bit of heat with like I don't think Inoki, but with like wrestling companies. So like
Yeah.
don't talk about our business shit. According to them, Idi Amin responded and said yes. It was going to happen in 1979, but then the coup happened, and of course that meant Idi Amin could not make it to a match.
By this point, psychotically syphilitic Idi Amin.
Yeah.
That would have been a damn dome show right there.
Dude, that would have been a dome show. Can Antonio Inoki defeat the most evil man ever?
But this is a I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. In terms of Shota's performance and Inoki's
Y-
performance is
yes.
pretty awesome too. But yeah, he does the opposite of hands straight up, where he's just kind of walking around the ring, and a couple times he gets shots because he's so like
Mhm.
lackadaisical about what he's doing. But there, I think it's round two where I figured out that this was like the Willie Williams fight, where if you get in a hold, but here it's a 15 count, which makes
It
sense
is.
because
It's
this is not a
actually
striking discipline.
no, and it's actually kind of flipped because before it was like we do it for 5 seconds because Willie Williams is not a grappler
Yeah,
and we want this to be striking. I believe the 15 is because Shota is a grappler. He's one of the best grapplers in the world.
yeah,
And we're just going on the policy that if you can't beat him in 15 seconds, we're going to stand you up so it can go back to a fight.
yeah.
Because otherwise, Shota will just keep him on the ground forever until he can find a way to rip him apart. So it's almost in a way, it's both for keeping aside, but also like a slight way to protect Inoki, and
Yeah.
to make Shota look out like this monster because
Well, he gets saved by the bell more than
yes,
once here.
more
Like,
than once. But yeah, no, Shota is as you said, almost lackadaisical in his approach here. He gets
he
popped a few times,
some
and
of it, especially after, which we'll talk about because it happens pretty early. One of the, I guess it's one of the arm bars, right? Inoki starts selling that arm, and I don't know if it's legit, because like there's the point later in the match where Shota's kind of going for the bad arm, and Inoki like guides his hands back to his
Mhm.
other arm.
Yeah.
But he's walking around with one arm kind of limp and dangling, uh, and and it reminds me of like like a big brother. The little brother is trying to attack him, and he's just like holding him back by his
he's
head,
yeah,
like
he's
the
got the hand on
cartoon
the head.
dogs, right? The Looney Tunes dogs, yeah.
Yeah.
Where he's he's just kind of like, this elderly person is trying to attack me at the bus stop, and I'm just pushing him
Yeah.
off of me so I
Yeah.
don't hurt him. But I don't know. Inoki plays it so well. He's so vulnerable with that bad wing, and it's so beautiful. And then when Shota does get those takedowns, it's like, oh shit, yeah, there we go.
Yeah. And I mean, Anoki's way of fighting back is so great too, because we talk about with the Ruska thing when he gets pushed into a corner by a judoka, he just starts throwing hands,
Yeah,
and like, yeah, he goes. It plays out in such a funny way because it's kind of a combination of the last two matches. There's this amazing point where Inoki goes for a wheel kick,
a copy kick.
and
Yeah,
he goes for he once again just throwing his body forward, uh, like barely glances him, stands back up and just punches Shota in the
punches
head.
the shit out of him.
It looks like Shota doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah,
It looks like he gets lost in the stars for a
that's,
second. He like
that's where
almost
I
falls
wrote.
out.
Yeah, it looks like he's like trying not to fight back against the elderly man, right?
Yeah.
And then Inoki gets a leg lock, and this is where we see Shota's grocery store feet, right? He looks like he's been walking around the Piggly Wiggly barefoot, or they've been made to stand in the snow in Siberia or something, because
Yeah.
the bottoms of his feet are like gray, and he
Dude.
sort of tries to break the leg lock by putting his dirty foot on
Yeah.
Inoki's face, and then they stand up. And this was another one. He like turns his back to Inoki and is just like casually pulling up his pants, and then hits Enziguri to the back of the head so
Dude,
fucking hard.
I rewound that like 20 times because legitimately the camera is just focused on Shota, who looks like he's just putting his clothes on for work. And then Inoki comes flying in out of frame and just I've never seen an Enziguri come in from out of frame before. Never once in my
Yeah,
life. It's so like
went
it's really
went
funny, but
crazy
it's
for that one.
also it's just such a crazy fucking shot. Like I would gif it and post it to Twitter if it didn't lead to me getting like assassinated by Bushiroad.
Yeah. And there's another one where they get in a hole. There's a break whistle, which was fun. Did you notice that when they got to
I
the
yes,
white part, they would blow a very loud whistle
dude, fucking
for them to
Mr.
break?
Mr. Takahashi with the whistle like a train conductor. Like I'm like loving this.
Yeah. and this Shota finally goes for that hurt arm and gets him down in a choke, and he's saved by the bell again. And then
Ah,
they go to the corner and they're tugging on Inoki's arm, and
dude.
they
I
hit it
think
with the fart spray. What Dom
yeah,
said. Right.
Tatsutoshi Goto is like holding his hand in position, like have his arm stretched out, and I think it's Seiji Sakaguchi is just like punching his arm over and over again,
Punching his
like a
bicep.
yeah, punching his bicep like it's a speed bag, like trying to reactivate the arm, like it's a like it's like hitting the TV with the remote to get it to turn back on.
And then they tie a red rag around his arm like he's gonna shoot up or something. Like I don't know how this could, but as soon as he gets in the ring, the referee just yanks it off. Like they show this close up like tying of this rag, and then it gets yanked off immediately.
Dude, I'm not even kidding. The second they tied the fucking rag around his arm, the first thought that came to my mind was that like the comic drawing of the dude shooting up, but it's Jesus putting his arm there.
Exactly what because that's where they tie it to. It's like right above
exactly
the elbow.
there.
Like, oh, they're gonna shoot him up. Although we did see that, I did send you that picture from the later Ruska match where they have the comically large syringe
Yeah.
in the back of his neck. But we don't get that. But they go back
No.
out, and he comes out again. He's got the arm down, but he's slapping. He's trying to do gut punches. It's
Yeah.
and I commented the first time I watched it with people again, like, this is a great Inoki performance here.
Dude, it's incredible. He is like a wounded animal, like fighting for his life while also being very aware that he is like just every second that passes is 1 second closer to losing, and he needs to get the win.
He's getting shots in, and Shota's he's taking him down at various points, but like he has him huffing and puffing, man.
Mm-hmm.
Shota throws him down and gets up and is like legit gassed.
Yeah,
this maniac with one arm.
This fucking 50-year-old man who is like just like a rabid dog refusing to stay down.
And that's the point again where like he goes for that dangling arm, and like Inoki sort of takes his hands and pulls them over to his other arm. So
yeah,
I've seen there is a criticism of this match I saw somewhere where they talked about how Inoki starts selling the arm too early. I'm not sure if he was selling. I think maybe he really did, especially the way, like, again, Sakaguchi's punching the shit out of his bicep, and they're like,
yeah.
I don't know, because it feels like he moves him away from it.
Yeah,
but
and I don't know. See, I feel like honestly, I think they were just fucking. Yeah, I don't know if it was real, but like,
yeah, I'm sure it wasn't. But again,
I mean,
that's the thing about these different style fights, man. They got me.
Yeah, no, it's,
you and I have seen such an insane amount of wrestling,
yeah.
And to even for a moment be like, oh man, is that legit? Like there's a magic in these things. And this is another magical one. As much funny shit is in it. And it's almost a perfect way to kind of wrap up from the first match, because it ends the same way but kind of in reverse.
Yes, Inoki facing a spry Shota. I mean, he's gassed, but there's a spry judoka, and he is just feeling it. And the round starts, and within like 10 seconds of the round starting, Shota just grabs him and backdrops him. And Inoki hits the ground.
There's real struggle on it.
Dude, Inoki hits the ground and he stops moving, and I'm like, did he just break his neck? It just like it looks like Inoki can't feel his body.
And these judo guys, that's what I love about them largely is they're snapping these things off, man. When they hit a backdrop, it's a backdrop. And he gets up and goes for another. This one looks almost more like a spinning heel kick than a capo kick, and then he takes like, what is it, a uranagi?
It's a uranagi, yeah.
He takes like a shoot uranagi for an 8 count, and then he gets up and just gets plastered again.
Dude, the last backdrop is so good because Inoki never even looks at Shota for that last one. He gets up. He is like staring in the direction of Mr. Takahashi. Mr. Takahashi does like a little check. Inoki like waves his hand in front of his face to say like, I'm good. But like you can just tell from the way he's looking, Inoki doesn't even see Mr. Takahashi. He's like, at least from the way he looks like he can't see anything. He is just staring into space. like on his feet, barely conscious, and Shota grabs him and backdrops him, and Inoki continues to stare in that direction as he goes to the backdrop, and it's like,
Yeah.
fuck, man, he's like dead.
And then we get the 10 count and the bell rings and this man who has been like emotionless, like again, he looks like he's working in a cubicle while he's in this like fight in the fucking Tokyo Dome against Antonio Inoki, gets like the sweetest and funniest smile when the
Dude,
bell rings.
I wrote in
He's
my notes.
so proud.
Wrote in my notes the exact phrase: "Big old smile."
Big
Like
ol' smile.
he looks like he just got a lollipop, dude. Like he's
Yeah.
so happy.
And then it falls off, and Inoki gets up. He's got the red rag back tied on, so I guess it was
Mhm.
doing something. And he hands him the belt. Uh, and this is the only defeat, right? Am I wrong in saying this is the only defeat for
Nope.
Inoki?
This is the only defeat in Inoki's entire career as a different style fighter. Um,
And is
it
that
is
do we attribute that to the political
he oh
situation, or
oh god, that is such a good question. I want to say, you know what? Yes, I think it was a point of it was a gesture of goodwill from Inoki
yeah?
to lose to Shota and give up his title belt to say like I am so happy to play ball with you, Mikhail Gorbachev. Like I am. Please continue to give me these Russian judokas and let me do shit with them.
And that's
I
so
have to
funny that
imagine.
like at the center of this like actual real geopolitical thing is this ornamental belt that Vincent J. McMahon gave Inoki, and then he defended at Madison Square Garden against Red Bastien, is
Yeah.
now like involved in international politics. But that's the beauty and the magic of Inoki,
Yes.
who, whatever your feelings on him, invented this thing that is still out there in the world, and notwithstanding how it's somewhat of a force for evil, uh, right? Like it's just remarkable to think about
Yeah.
that it's so much of what he did in his life was like sheer force of will,
Yes. Yes.
and inventing mixed martial arts is like one of those things.
Yeah, like I mean, this is like kind of the nexus point of all of Inoki's achievements in a way, everything he's ever
Yeah,
done. Working with the WWF to the point that they gave him an ornamental belt and made him the martial arts champion of the world. Um the all the geopolitical stuff, like the stuff in North Korea and the stuff with the hostages, and now what he's doing with Moscow and Gorbachev.
yeah, and
Um,
he's survived this massive multiple scandals. Right?
so many
The
scandals, dude.
biofuel shit, the affair, like all this stuff is in the rear view at this point, right? And
Yeah,
it's
and
true. And again, like we said, there's 5 years after this, he has another one.
I will say he has another one of these with Shota. A month later, they face off again. It goes 2 rounds, and Inoki wins back the belt. So this
Yeah,
is
I
not
watched
the
that. It was good.
final.
It was good. It's a
It's
good
not
match.
the final match of his whole different style quest. It's the penultimate one, but in a way, I just this feels like the last one, even
The
more than
grab.
when he wins it back. The winning back
Yeah,
almost feels like okay, this just happened because it's wrestling. Like
yeah,
this match feels so an end of the book. You know, this is the end of Inoki's chapter in the world of different style fighting,
yeah.
and
Because the
it's
next time that he comes back into this milieu, he's he's just feeding his own roster to actual fighters,
yeah,
and
yeah,
he's not
like
involved.
the next time he really starts doing this is with that and with UFO when he brings in like
Yeah, UFO.
Dawnfire and
Yeah,
Naoya Ogawa and like, why don't you kill my wrestlers?
yeah,
um, and I think it's really interesting, especially because of the timing, because this is late April 1989. If we want to go farther, we can say that the end of Inoki's time is the end of May 1989. I don't know if we're going to be talking about this guy on the next episode, but we are certainly going to be talking about him within the next like three. Probably the next one, just because I know we both want to. Um, 2 months after, not even 2 months actually, really a month after the match where he beats Shota and gets the title back, and that's the end of Inoki's time in different style
Yeah,
fighting. A month later,
a new frontier.
Atsushi Onita faces Masashi Aoyagi in a different style fight that creates a whole new chapter. It's a month between the two, which fucking blows my mind.
Yeah, that's
That
sort
like,
of unfathomable to think about
yeah,
because of
right when
the
Inoki ends, Onita begins.
yeah. And it's also fitting that like this is a big dome show production dramatic thing, and then Inoki rolls in with the one of the scuzziest feeling, the
Yeah, like
dirtiest. I we did that very early on File Under Fire, and
yes.
I remember Brady messaging me like 10 minutes into it. What is this evil match?
I, I think from memory, I think the first time I sent this to Armani years ago, I think he had a very similar
Yeah,
response of like, what are you showing me? Like, yeah, I think he asked me like, is this wrestling? Like
yeah.
he was
Different
like, and
style fights,
that's
baby. Different style whites, bringing it to you.
that's a month later, dude. Fuck. I knew they were close in time. I only realized while saying that out loud just now it's a
Yeah, I
month.
sort of thought that's where you were going when you said it, and it blew
Yeah.
my mind too. I didn't look, but yeah,
I
that tracks.
and yeah, no, it's so this is kind of we did a very good all-encompassing thing with Inoki, looking at the start and pretty much the end of it with a very strong middle point. Um and it says a lot about Inoki just as much as it says about different style fights. That this is a guy and this is a format that really thrived in environments where the fans wanted blood and they wanted to see something that was different. And this is about as different as it gets, fucking
It's me. I'm the
not,
fan.
yeah, that for real. Like, it's such an incredible format for a style of wrestling, and it feels weird to say that Inoki set the standard, or not that he set the groundwork for what other people would expand upon and do at even greater heights. But like, but that's just the thing with different style fights. I have seen like five bad ones in my entire life. Most of them rock, and
Yeah,
some of them are the greatest shit ever. And
I've said before those are three of the greatest words in the English language.
yeah,
Different style fight.
yeah,
They're beautiful, and one of the very fun things about this journey, I think, is that they can be broadly defined, and I think there's something like 20 like matches on Cage Match that are listed as different style fights, but
yes,
there are hundreds,
yeah. No,
thousands, right, of things that
we're
we can pull into that, and we will. And I am so excited to start this. And thank you, Antonio Inoki. As we said, next week we're going to be exploring the frontier, I think,
yes, we
or
have to.
next
We really
time.
have to.
Maybe not next week, but next time
Yeah.
we will be exploring. And I did want to. We've hinted and we've talked about, and you know, John is obviously the expert, and I defer to him in these match selections, of course. But there are many more Inoki different style fights, so I thought that
Yes.
something that could be fruitful here, or good for people who are listening and are not as tuned into this stuff, is what we want to call further reading, right? More
Yes.
matches. Um, from whatever or wherever we're talking about in a given week. And this week that would be Inoki. I know that the Willie Williams fight replaced what we had originally talked about was the Chuck Wepner fight, right? The inspiration for Rocky. But can you sort of give people some recommendations or a rundown on some other Inoki different style fights that might be worth their time.
Absolutely. As Aubie said, the Chuck Wepner fight very, very nearly made it in. Honestly, the only reason it didn't is because I saw clips from a movie that was made that covered the Inoki Willie Williams fight, and I was like, oh yeah, that is like one of the best matches ever.
Yeah.
Why are we not talking about this? So Chuck Wepner was sadly taken out, but of course Chuck Wepner, inspiration for Rocky. It is also not the first wrestler versus boxer match. We actually found footage of one from like the 40s, which was like crazy, but it is the first one in full that I've seen. And it feels very interesting, especially because that's such a prevalent format of different style fighting going into the 90s, especially all over the indies, is like the boxers really start spreading
Yeah.
through. We'll probably talk about Jun Kikawada at some point, who's a dude in wing who like he like does different style fights with the winger, and it sounds so crazy to say that they're awesome because it's a winger match, but like, dude, they fucking rule. Um, but yeah, no, Chuck Webner match is great. He has a match with the Monster Man, who is a martial artist from Pennsylvania. He did karate, but was more active as a kickboxer from memory. So it's kind of a wrestler versus kickboxer situation. He is named the Monster Man. That should probably sell it enough on its
Yeah. I'm
own, but
in.
it's a very fun match.
I did see
Uh,
that one of Shota's 3 career matches is a tag that involves the Monster Man.
yes. Uh, the other Willem Ruska match is also very fun. Willem Ruska actually comes out with wrestling gear on because part of the thing with the original Ruska match is that he gets bewildered and owned by wrestling. So he comes into this match trying to be more of a pro wrestler, but he still is like the judoka guy. It's still very fun. Um, there is the Akram Pelwan match, which is actually a complete shoot, but it is a very entertaining match to read about. And it is also just a fascinating thing to see. Massive warning on that one. Inoki like destroys his arm and retires him because Akram Pelwan, like an hour before the match, his camp goes to Inoki and says, "We're gonna do a no book match, so like we don't book the winner." Inoki was like, "Okay, so they want to shoot on me." So then Inoki, of course, like shattered Pelwan's arm to shit and retired him. um, so evil match, wouldn't recommend that if you don't want to see something pretty horrific in that way, but also just another case of Inoki being, and even in that one, I almost feel bad for him because he did like they wanted to work it, and then the Padawan camp was like, "No, we want to shoot," and
Hey,
Inoki's
what
like,
are you
"Well,
gonna
fuck,
do?
what are you gonna do?"
That's on you.
Um,
I will say too. I know people like maybe if you're watching it without context, like people hate on the Ollie fight. I would say
mhm.
like if you actually like read up on it and sort of give yourself some context for it, and the sort of the rules and prerequisites they had going in, it's actually pretty fascinating to watch.
Yes, I think that's the best way to put it too. That it's fascinating because I don't even think I'd say it's a great fight per
No,
se,
it's
but
not, but it's
it's so weird to like the fact that it happened. And again, if you know the whole context
yeah,
of the what happened with the rules and everything else and all the business stuff, it's it is another one of those things that it could not happen again today because only in like the 70s could so many things go wrong and then everybody still agrees to go forward with it instead of just canceling the event. um it's awesome. And then I guess final recommendation, uh any of the Inoki matches from like the 90s that are different style fights, none of them are like meaty, but like the Ruska match and the Willie Williams match, those ones are fun. It's like if you watch the older matches they had and then you watch these, it's like the spark is still kind of there with these guys and it's so entertaining. So
yeah,
I mean, just really, you are good with any Inoki different style fights, but there are some real great ones out there, and most of them are at least entertaining or just plain fascinating.
yeah. So we will we will go out on that note with the promise that there is more to come, and I cannot wait to dig into a lot of this stuff, and I think that we have to say after 1 week for the Inoki era, for the King of Sports era, I think we have to say that pro wrestling is the strongest style.
I mean, look at the numbers, brother. It's like
Yeah,
13-1.
it's
Inoki
just
wins
math.
again.
Exactly. So, thank you for listening, John. I'm so excited we're doing this. This is going to be quite the journey,
Yes.
and I can't wait to dig into our friend at Sushi Onita soon.
Yes. It's all I could ever hope for.
We are different style whites, and go watch these different style fights.
Goodbye.
Bye.